What's going on, guys? My name is Ronald. I am also known online as Oxygen, and I am the coach of the Waltham Watchhogs. And welcome to Season 3 of the Lost Woods Draft League. It's a very exciting time right now because we have actually expanded significantly. We have gone from the normal 16 teams to 28 with two divisions, the Koraidon and the Maridon division. I am playing in the Koraidon division, or not the Koraidon, the Maridon division. What am I saying? However, I am here to make a power rankings of both divisions. I'm gonna try to keep it updated weekly, and I'm going to start with the Koraidon division strictly because we have nothing out on it right now. I do want to say to preference, these are all my opinions. I'm doing rankings, not tier listing as well. But this is just my opinion on the draft. I I'm not targeting anyone. I mean no harm for this. I think everyone knows that when it comes to rankings. But whatever I have to say, that's just my opinion. And whatever I do say, the best thing if you don't like what I have to say is to prove me wrong. It's happened to me the past both season 1 and 2, in which I got ranked as the lowest team, and then, or at least one of the lowest teams in like D tier, and then I went on to beat both people that put me in that tier. So if I put you in D tier as well, keep that streak. Don't keep that streak alive, just for me, but yeah, this is all my opinion. I'll just give my general thoughts on the team. So I hope everyone enjoys listening to my terrible takes and rankings that will be wrong by the end of the season. All right, should be good to go now. So power rankings for Koraidon. I did not go like in depth for this. I'm just going off of what my gut instincts told me for everything going on. And again, all my opinion. So at number 14, in my power rankings, and then I have the Marlboro Master Balls, coached by Peaceful Nate, who is a new member. And looking at the team, um, Dragonite, or this entire team, admittedly, I have it as my lowest strictly because I don't get it, to say the least. I think there's some good pieces, but we're playing a Reg H no Terra format. I forgot to say that at the beginning, which immediately, because I believe Peaceful Nate was first overall and they selected Dragonite. Um, which I feel relies a lot on Terra. Like you have the ice and fairy weaknesses that are really, really abundant. Like I guess rock and dragon also, but that's like a big weakness. You can't Terra normal E speed. Like you have like loaded dice scale shot, which I feel like is the normal non-Terra set, but even then you're clicking Terra Fairy, which I like Inner Focus because you can't get flinched, you can't get intimidated. Whimsicott was pretty standard pick in my opinion. I like that pick. Tailwind mode, Prankster, not that bad, but Hitmontop and Gengar this early, I think there was a lot of good stuff still on the board that they could have gone another direction. Also, another reason I don't really like this draft, we had a budget of 115, which is 25 points less than normal, and there's 14 points remaining still. So like realistically, like I'm not saying they should actually do this, but or every 14 plus point mon is taken, but like there has to be some upgrade somewhere, at least in my opinion. Maybe I don't see the vision, but like I feel like you can really easily upgrade Hypno or Scyther, Venomoth, something like that. I think there are good pieces on the team. I think Breloom as a Pokemon is pretty cool. I think Raichu as a Pokemon is pretty cool. Raichu gets Fake Out. It might get Follow Me. I'm not 100% sure. I did not look, but I do know it has some good utility options. Um, Lucario can be solid, but I don't know. I think this is a team that they drafted the team to kind of like not fit a puzzle, but have a bunch of pieces. But even then, I'm not entirely sold on the pieces. So, admittedly, I'm not a huge fan of this team, but this feels like a team that if Peaceful Nate knows how to pilot it, could do some damage to whoever he plays. As of the time of recording this, the Koraidon division has their teams. The Koraidon does not. So, that's my opinion. I don't really. I need to see the team play before I can say anything else because not entirely too sure in my opinion. Um, so yeah. Looking forward to see how he builds it though. But from the beginning, not. I think there's a lot better teams than this. A similar spot at number 13 for a team, admittedly, I just don't get is Hawk of the Island Dragons. In which Rillaboom I think is a really cool pick to start. Um, but Slowking as a second pick, like you could eat. I think Hawk easily could have got this in the sixth. Um, like the picks, I think I think Hawk did partially save part of this. I think Volbeat is a really interesting idea to bring with the Prankster set. I think Hydreigon and getting Metagross in the last round is very cool. I think Sandaconda next with Creongle could be interesting. Cleft is just good. You got your Intimidator. Mandibuzz is decent typing, but like the draft, Hawks draft felt a bit stretched in my opinion. Um, which he's got some fun stuff to play with. Grassy Seed's always fun. Admittedly, you don't have anything that really like knock off like harms. I guess you have Metagross and Slowking actually, so that could work. You have your Trick Room Setter and Slowking that Metagross can use. Berserker's also a pretty fun mon with Fake Out. What else gets Fake Out on this team? I know some. Oh, Rillaboom. What am I saying? But another team that I think is just admittedly a bunch of pieces. I think it could do well. Um, but yeah, I'd say these really this team and the Marlboro Master Balls are like the only two teams that I don't see a clear picture with. Um, so yeah, again, I think I mean this is my first time actually seeing Hawk not play Rain, so I think that will be fun to see. Um, because I don't can't judge how Nate plays. I can't judge how Hawk plays because this is completely different than what I normally see each of them doing. So I think it'll be good to see what Hawk cooks up here, but admittedly not a team I would necessarily like to play. Um, with that, I also realized you have two Levitate Mons. Again, Hydreigon's another Mon though that really benefits from Terra. So um, yeah, just my opinions on that. Number 12, um, I like him thick with Cat. Um, Cat's team started off with Incineroar, Alola, Ninetales, and finished off the Ice Core with Baxcalibur as a late pick, and then Frostmoth, which I really like Ninetales in this format. I think the third round pick was a good value for it. I forgot. I think Cat was at the end of the second round, so I like the pick. Cat did miss, I think, multiple picks, so their draft is kind of like budgeted. Um, and I can see that by there's no real oomph, or there's some oomph, I'd say, but there's no like obvious like. I think it's good that you don't know how Cat's gonna play because you have the obvious snow mode, then you've got Murkrow backs, and then Incineroar is just the go. You have Double Follow Me with Furret and Magmar screens with Klefki. Like I think this separates itself from the other two teams by you can see I see the ideas immediately. I don't know much about Revavroom, admittedly. So I think that is a cool mon that is either gonna come a bit more than I think or not as all. Um, I don't know how often you'll need filler or filter, my bad, because I mean I think ground just kills it anyway, and like you don't really need it against fire. Um, yeah, I think this team has options. I think Bax Caliber will either be a very good mon for this team or just a massive liability. It depends. I think Aurora Veil is very good in this format. I think Double Follow Me is very good. Just being able to pressure and having some spore rage powder, just like some normal countermeasures is good. I think Frostwalk. I think I touched on it earlier. I think that's an underrated mon. Um, I like the team. I think Cat could build something interesting with it. Um, but yeah, I think I will preface by saying in advance a lot of the mid or a lot of the top teams blended together and a lot of the middle tiers blended together. So like I think teams 8 through 12 I swapped around a bunch before like kind of like settling on something. Even then I don't necessarily like my list. So yeah, I think there's some things you can play with. Also, I think Bastion Legion having 2.5 abilities is also pretty good. Also, Frisk for it. Frisk is always a fun ability. That's good to play with. And just especially in closed team sheet draft, having a follow mirror and knowing your opponent's items immediately, very, very good. So I like the Furret pick. Um yeah, I think this is all good picks. Um I think yeah, I think it can be worked. Um so this is kind of funny because the next team up is we have two cats in the league. Yes, so we have the Skitty Wow Kitties. And what I'm about to say here is contradictory opinion because there were just some changes made to the team literally as I'm recording this. So we have the Amoonguss, Smeargle, Pelipper first three picks, Basket Legion, Hisuian Zoroark, Hisuian Electrode, Stone Joiner, Kingdra. And it doesn't say here, but Ceruledge and Earthworm just got dropped for Weirdeer and Tinkaton. Um, so I think that makes the team better. I like those pickups. I think having Weirders and Intimidator is good. I think Tinkaton with Fake Out Mold Breaker is fun. Tinkaton has quite a few fun moves as well. I think it's just a pain to play against. Even like faint pickpocket stuff, like screw that. Tinkaton or Gigaton Hammer, my bad. Is fun. Yeah, that's a good mon. I think the one thing I just went ahead, my bad. I think the one thing I disliked about the team at first is that it was triple support to start, and Bastion Legion kind of made up for it. But at the same time, this team is a bit too rain reliant. I'd say like I don't see a way to do damage without rain. I guess that's like what I'm trying to say here, because you have like Swift Swim adaptability, Basket Legion, male. You have Kingdra, but like Smeargle's not going to do damage. Amoonguss will only do damage if it's like super effective Leaf Storm or Sludge Bomb. Pelipper Pelipper is a bit frailer, but it can still do damage. But like your main damage is reliant on the rain, which will either be you, which means you have to play the game to keep the rain up. And without Prankster, that might be hard. I think you can use Hisuian Electrode to get the rain up, I want to say. I should know this because it's on my team. I think it does. Yeah, it does. Get Rain Dance. Um, yeah, also Stone Joiner's a wide guard's good. Um, yeah, solid team. I think it will be fun. The only thing that I had against it instantly was the damage, or like the sucker punch. Like if you're facing like anything with safety goggles, sucker punch, like Basket Legion just like is in a, and Zoroark is in like a really ass spot, which is where you need to bring Kingdra. But even then, you're bringing Pelipper, probably Smeargle or Amoonguss every game. Um, it's just I honestly don't see like a good argument to bring Stone Joiner to any games. Um, yeah, even the pickups that just went through, I think will help out. So yeah, overall solid team. I like it. I'm interested to see what they do with it. Um, yeah. Moving on, number 10. I have the Cosmic Clefairies with CJ. CJ went with their tried and true. I think this is their third season with Annihilate. I think Annihilate Mousehold is a combo. They may have gone Annihilate Limbs season one. I honestly don't remember. I want to check that. But this is this is also on Persian Dark. I messed up that. Don't look at that. It's got its main ability is Fur Coat, I think, which is pretty cool. I'm gonna punch myself over missing that though. Um, did they? Who got Mouse? They did not get Mouse. Curry had Mousehole that season. Um, but yeah, you have the Sun mode with Ninetales, Hisui, and Lilligant. You have Mouse Ape, which Mousehold is, I think, a bit more of a beast in this format. Mimikyu is a very good Trick Room setter. The Trick Room mode with Arachnid, with Slowking, with Camerupt is going to be good. Bruxish as well is a very good Mon. I don't know if this team has a way to get Psychic Terrain. I'm going to assume Slowking can set it up. Maybe even Mimikyu, but there's no obvious way. Um, this is definitely a team that like, because part of the way I'm judging is how do I think I would like to play with the team. And while admittedly this is not necessarily a team I like playing, I think CJ knows their way really well around this type of team comp. And admittedly, there were two players going for, I think, the Trick Room, Size Spam, Mouse Save kind of stuff. And I think they did take each other's picks and overlap quite a bit, which I think did change plans on both sides. But I think CJ has a very good outline for what they want to do. Also, Annihilate, I think, is just a beast um, in this format. I honestly want to say. I think the fighting ghost type is actually insanely good. I was planning on picking that in my draft, but I had a better option pop up out of nowhere. So this is fun. Also, Friend Guard is going to be very good in this format, and of course, the moment you prepare for Friend Guard, Technician pops up. Arachnid is something I've not used, but I really like at the same time. Overall, I think this will be a solid team. Um, by all means, because it's going to be a team that will force you to play Trick Room if they want to. They will force you to bring safety goggles. They will go fast. Um, I think the only thing was slightly worried, which is a caveat that CJ ran into last season, was getting base stat diffed, which could come back this season because they only have a base stat total of 479. But I have faith that CJ can navigate through and overcome that if it ever becomes an issue, which it should not. Number 9, I have Harvard Hatterines, coached by Nagai Freak or Nagai Freak. I don't know how to pronounce it. Looking at this team, it's hard trick room. Indeedee Hatterene I played with in season 1. while it is very obvious what it's gonna do, what moves they're gonna run, you still have to respect it. Like there were some games that I played against um very strong teams that just they could not stop Ndidi Hatterene because I ran a specific move or a specific item on them. Um, no Terra definitely hurts this combo a bit, but it's doable because you also have the fast size spam sun mode with Del Fox, Armarouge, and Torkoal. Um, Admittedly, I would have liked to see Ninetales instead of Torkoal on here, but I think Torkoal also does the job really well. I think the only issue is you have to you're gonna have to leave to bring follow me trick room, and then you're gonna need something to die to safely bring the Torkoal, which could be hard. Um, I think Staraptor is a very good pick. I think Scarf Final Gambit on Staraptor is a very strong option. It's only got 85 base HP, but that still can surprise some stuff. Plus it's Intimidate, it's got Reckless, like it'll be solid. Um, yeah, it's a solid team. Lilligan, Chlorophyll. It's the cheaper of Hisuian, but I felt like no matter what, because I think it's um Nagai and CJ were both going for this. I think one of them was going to take Torkoal Lilligan, and another one was going to take Ninetales Hisuian Lilligan. That's how it shaped out. I think admit the team's a bit two-dimensional, I would say, but I think if the guy builds it correctly, I think this can get really out of hand really fast, especially if teams don't have dark types, if teams can't stop the trick room mode. It very much could be a turn zero. Like, is this an auto lose or is this going to be like a dogfight? Um, I'm interested. I think Nagai Freak plays Trick Room. I think they played Side Spam Trick Room in Reg H. I'm not 100% sure, but that was with Terra. This is a bit different. But from my experience, especially because I didn't, there were some games I didn't Terra and DD Hatterene, it can get out of hand for opponents very quickly. Um, Also, another mon, Hisui Decidueye, I think is a good mon that I think went too late in both rounds. Um, I think the Raichu could be something else. I'm not sure though. I haven't looked at the board, but I think for lack of a better term, quadrupling down on size spam could be a bit much. Um, but then again, I haven't looked that much. I think this will be a solid team. Um, it's got very high physical attackers, very high special attackers. It's just can um can they get in the right position? Because again, it's also Michael, or I think the guy Freak is Michael. It's their first time playing draft. Um, so just at least making sure they have options to keep the terrain, keep the trick room, not to get caught out. I think they can be a strong team here. That's better than ninth. Um, at number 8, I have this team as like what I'd say the best of like the middle of the pack is these the D's Doggos by Breadman. I might be pronouncing that wrong. I'm not honestly sure. The team centers around Ursaluna. It's got Dusclops, Rotom Heat, Dozagiri, Vivillon, Chestnut, Gudra, Oyster, Renewquist. Admittedly, at first I had this at 11. Um, because I like Ursaluna. Um, I like that Dusclops. I like Dusclops because you have Frisk and you have the Solid Trick Room Setter. And that thing's bulky as heck. It's gonna cause so much disruption. You have Disquake with Rotom Heat or Saluna. Like those three paired together. Um, You have Dozo, which if you draft Dozo, you'll probably draft Dozogiri in the very late round. I'm not a huge Dozogiri fan in draft, but having the Force, I think Tatsugiri was cheaper in this draft to justify that if your opponent doesn't have Haze, it's going to be a much harder time for them to deal with. I think Chestnut's a great way to round out the core. I think Bulletproof, or the Firewater Grass core, I think Bulletproof is a very nice option. Also, knowing that it could be Belly Drum scares opponents. Pair that next to Pollen Puff Vivillon, or Sleep Powder Vivillon, or Trick Room Runiclus, and you are in for a rough time. I think the Cloister is a bit interesting. I'm assuming you'd run either Shell Smash or loaded dice, or not loaded dice, King's Rock Skill Link stuff. With I'm assuming I know it gets Icicle Spear. I don't know what else. It probably gets Rock Blast as well. I don't know what other multi-hit moves it might get. Um, I'm assuming there's something, but I think this on paper looks worse than the other teams, but I think it's got a lot of if Breadman can build correctly, or not build correctly, but build creatively, I think it's a team that has high potential throughout the season and can work. Also, Gudra gives both an insane defensive tank as well, and then also which the entire team is super defensive. Um, Another tank, and then you also have Sap Sipper as well, which can protect Ursaluna Dozo very well. So I think a good team, solid overall. Something that I think looks a bit worse than everything else, but I think when it comes to draft can play very well, and has tools in a lot of matchups. At number 7, I have AJ of the Toronto Toads. Um, Very disappointed I don't get to play AJ this season because we're in different divisions. Um, I think AJ's team, admittedly I did not like Dragapult very much coming to the season due to Sucker Punch and no Terra. I think Frigg is the exact mon you need to pair with Dragapult. Um, AJ's a very good team builder when it comes to draft. So I'm not sure what he's cooking up with the Gastrodon and Fernape. I think those could have gone a bit later. But I think snagging Sylveon and Salamence in the 6th and 7th is. I think Salamence in the 7th is a bit absurd based on how you can build it. I think, although Bisharp's an interesting one, I like Defiant. And then Abomasnow, I like Aurora Veil. Good stuff. I know Magnezone you can build very interestingly. Um, I think it's a very high base stat total team, which I think translates to a good team more often than you think. Because this team's gonna cover each other very well. The fantasy core, you've got your Dragapult or Salamence, you got your Magnezone or Bisharp, and then you've got Sylveon. Eviolite Bisharp also kind of can be funny in draft. I was very high on screens coming into the season. I like Abomasnow. We know what Flamigo's doing. Scrappy, and the fact that it's pretty fast is just a recipe for success. Um, I like the team. I don't have too much to say about it really, because I was going back and forth on it a lot, but it's got a very good ceiling, in my opinion. I think the floor is pretty low, but I think the ceiling is pretty good. And I think AJ will be able to build it well. I think it's got some decent synergy. Um, and can work out with each other. Iron Fist and Fernape's fun. Um, yeah, a bit of a weak Fire Water Grass core as well. I should say that. Like Gastron's cool, but like the Infernape is kind of weak with it, just because of how frail it is. But the entire team seems a bit frail, but will hit like a truck. So I think it will be cool to see how AJ builds that. Um, Number 6, I have the Oak Trees by Oath. Um, this is a team I really like. I think Goldengo, Arcanine, Electabuzz, Meowscarada is a really good start. I think, yeah, getting Goldengo with the Follow Meter and then immediately going Arcanine, Meowscarada, Milotic for your Fire Water Grass core is just really, really strong for a start. Scrafty's a great pickup in the back. Grassy Seed Thwacky with Goldengo protects it from knockoff. Illumise has Tailwind and Weather. Wheezing makes you have to respect the ability shield no matter what. I wouldn't expect to see it next to Goldengo, but like you could very well see like Wheezing out there next to Arcanine Meowscarada. I think beat up Scrafty into Arcanine is a really cool option. War Turtle for um just fake out. The team is a bit lacking in base stat total, but like if you look at the things that hold it back, it's War Turtle, it's Banette, it's Thwacky, and it's Illumise, which are not meant to be high base stat total mons. Um, I like it. I think this is a good team. It's another one that like I think looks like there's better stuff on paper, but this is a nasty draft team. It's got a lot of options it can go. Um, it's something I would definitely play if I had the chance. And yeah, I think it's just a lot of good stuff, especially in No Terra. So yeah, not that much to say about it. It's just good. Like even like your one complaint could be like, oh, there's like Disquake stuff. Like yeah, but like what are you gonna do when you have Grassy Surge out there? Like Earthquake's not doing that much. Just solid overall. Not too many complaints. Number five, I have my friend Mohammed Worcester Woosocks. I saw his name in parentheses because I'm a dumbass. Um, this is just good. He drafted King Gambit Sinistra, and I don't think he drafted Palafin. Um, I think he made a transaction on that, if I'm not mistaken. But Palafin, yeah, he dropped a Gyarados and Clodsire, so he dropped a Gyarados out of the 3 slot. Glamora, Talonflame, Gliscor, and I'm sorry, Como O in the 7th is fraudulent business. That thing, I don't care if it has a 4 times fairy weakness. That thing does not deserve to be in the 7th round. That thing, admittedly, while it got Terra, that thing basically won GERD Season 1. That thing was a menace with Jake Season 2. And it went to the 7th. That's kind of crazy. Pair that with fake out inner focus Sneasel. That's solid. Um this is just really good stuff though. I think King Gambit falling to 13 really benefited Muhammad a lot. Sinistra is just great. Admittedly, I think Sinistra will be I'm excited to see how Muhammad builds Sinistra on this team because normally you see it on your tankier teams. And Muhammad's highest HP stat is Belly Bolt. And then King Gambit and then Palafin, and then it falls off. Talonflame has Talonflame, which is basically dead in 2 turns, no matter what game it plays, is the fifth highest. Like Glamora usually runs Sash. Like I think Sinistra will be more for the redirection and the trick room and like to be there and like counter your opponent in short spurts than like to heal it up. Um, I think even the fact that this team has Gale Wings just makes King Gambit and Pal like what are you gonna do against Talonflame Palafin when it's just Gale Wings flip turn into your defensive Pokemon to bring Palafin back out later? Like that's solid. That's really solid. Um, I still can't believe Palafin went undrafted as well. I say that as we left Sylveon undrafted, but yeah, Electromorphous is also a solid move, or not a solid move, a solid ability, which I think a lot of people will underestimate with its, even though it's got a 103 base special attack. So, um, I would say I don't think Suing Sneasler gets beat up though. I think that's the one thing. I would have loved to see Kanto Sneasel on this team. That is if beat up triggers Electromorphous each time, because I think that would bring a really interesting one. I mean, you have dual wing beat to do it, but yeah, this team's gonna be a pain in the. There's just a pain to play against. I know because I've talked to him. I know Muhammad's very happy about this team. Um, yeah, I think this is a great team. I'm excited to see how Muhammad builds this because I know Muhammad can get very creative with building. So excited overall. Number four, I have Elena Battleboro Breloom. I actually did a mock against Elena earlier. I lost 2-0, but I got to see how his team ran a bit against my quick build. The, it's a team with good mons. Sneasel, Volcarona, Sneasel with Indeedee Mail is very good because that's just you're always going to get speed. You have your Firewater Grass with Mo, Samurott, Arcanine. Suing Samurott's a great value pick in my opinion as well. Mamoswine's cool, Grimmsnarl's solid. I don't like Ditto. Um, yeah, I don't like Ditto. It's not just the fact that it's on Elena's team. I just don't like Ditto as a draft mon. That's I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it's nice knowing their moveset, but at the end of the day, like if you're building your team to need Ditto, then it's an eh. I think this team has stuff. I like the Mamoswine, Rotom, Disquake stuff. Um, Having Psychic Seed for both Sneasler and Volcarona is fun. Rage Powder's good. Um, I think this is just a team that it's a team with good Pokemon, and Elena's a good player, so I'm confident it will work out. Um, I'm just slightly worried there's not enough because I think once you see what Elena wants to do, I think it's really easy to plan around it, although it's not as easy to stop it. So, so yeah, I think it's a solid team. It's I think it's a good team. It deserves to be high. I'm willing to bet Elena's happy with it. Um, so yeah, it's a team that I think could work out well, but this is another really high risk, high reward team. Um, that could work out, but it could not work out at the same time. Um, I can't really get good information on these totals because Ditto messes everything up. But it's solid all around. Um, but yeah, as long as Elena can continue to build differently, which might be a bit hard with how each of these are played. Like, yeah, um, three good Arcanine or two good Arcanine abilities is good. I guess you've got one or two. Indeed, no, you've only got one. Let's face it. Um, but yeah, it's a good team. Um, so yeah, I'll move on from that. I'm gonna try to finish up in the next few minutes. Number three, I have the Boston Launchers, in which the title's cut off because I took way too long to prepare all this. By Calvin Mogo. I really like team. I think Arch as the ninth overall pick is. I thought Arch as the sixth overall pick was criminal. The ninth overall pick I think is kind of crazy. Um, Three really good abilities paired with Calvin playing Perish Song. Um, I do not want to play against that. That is a very, very good team. Kilowattrel is also an incredible mon with competitive and wind powder, so you can't really bring Intimidate in this team because that competitive just gets boosted. You have your Swift Swim Abuser. Hariyama is just a really good mon. Azumarill is just going to Belly Drum. It's going to Citrus Berry, and then it's just going to abuse the rain. Torracat is just a solid mon all round. Umbreon. It's just a really good team in general. Um, yeah, I think if Calvin can play around the art stuff pretty well, um, which I'm confident he can because I have that as well. There's a surprising amount of moves it gets. There's a surprising amount of things it can do. Um, and yeah, I just think Calvin will is really poised to do very well with this team. Um, yeah, I think it will do. He'll do very well with it. I do wish he had a Disquake user, or a ground earthquake user, because that would be insane with Kilowattrel. But I think Calvin's done a really good job rounding out his core with the Intimidate Torracat, with the Ghost Typhus Magius stat. It just works well as a unit. And I think Calvin will just be able to skill difference people with Archelon, Politoed, Gothtel, and Kilowattrel. Or whatever fourth mon he runs with Parasong. Does Torcat get parting shot? If Torcat gets parting shot, then that's gonna be it, it does get parting shot, so Calvin can run that, which is pretty nice. So he's got his entire Perish mode, which is a very, very strong team, good player, so I'm excited to see what he does with that. Number two, I have Mr. B of the New York Ninetales. And I really, really like this draft. Um, you have Ursaluna Blood Moon fell to 14, which I don't know how it fell to 14. Um, that's a great Pokemon. Um, Porygon 2 to pair with it. Porygon 2 is probably the best or one of the best Trick Room support mons. You have your Sandcore with Tyranitar Excadrill. You've got Disquake with Rotom Excadrill. Clefable has Magic Bounce. Wheezing, everyone has to respect. You've got your Sand Abuser. Then you've got some just good things to round out the core with Toxicroak and Pult. Um, this was my number one team instantly after the draft. I think the moment I looked at the draft, I think this was the team that I'm like, all right, I can see the vision really, really clearly with this team. I think it's really strong, and there's not it forces your opponent to play how you want to play. If you want to run your sand mode, the sand mode's going to get run. If you want to run Ursaluna Blood Moon damage, it's going to get run. If you want to go Trick Room with Ursaluna as your a slow mon, you can do that. I don't know if this mon gets if this team gets like a Tailwind mode. I don't think it. I'm assuming no, it doesn't because Tailwind's right there. Like no Tailwind, no Wide Guard sucks, but like this team, it can cause chaos. You've got two Follow Mirrors with Clefable Follow Me and Pult Rage Powder. Um, yeah, it's just a solid team overall. What is that? Oh, Toxicroak gets Icy Wind, so that's another speed control option. Um, that says Tyranitar gets Icy Wind. That would be really funny because I did not know that, and that should not exist. Um, but yeah, I think it does get Icy Wind. Yeah, that's funny. It's never gonna get used, but I do think T-Tar struggles a bit without Terra. because you want to run the Terra Flying Excadrill stuff. Because it's just really good. Can't do that. I think Ursaluna, though, the fact that you have a special typing ground type Pokemon with how limited they are, limited good ground type Pokemon are, I think it works incredibly well. As a whole overall. So unaware Clef as well. So like faces the Dozogiri team, like it's not gonna do much Clef. Even if he goes Fluffy Houndstone, like that's a fun team. So looking forward to see what Mr. B cooks with this. This is I think a really good team overall. So it was my one team, but I think it's a number two. It's a team that I think is incredibly strong and is the best in the thing. But for the best team I have Chris of the Macho Mudkips, who is also the defending champion. And I put him at number one, both as a this is a really good team, and Chris is that good of a player. You have your Garchomp Corviknight core, which is incredibly strong. Corviknight's a great defensive Pokemon. Garchomp pairs very well with it. These two, I used them in Reg-H. Very solid core. You don't need to Terra often. Pair that with Mienshao, Primarina, Electivire. This is just a really good team. You have your Bounce Core, Prim, Superior, and Shandy. Shandy, a good Trick Room setter that you can't really abuse with Primarina or Corv, but the option is there. I think Superior Graffarai is a fun option. I think Mabastiff was a really underrated mon I had. If Chandelure, if he wants to run on Well-Baked Body, Chandelure, Lava Plume, if it gets that. Inner Focus Fake Out Mienshao is very good. Overall, this is just, I don't really need to justify it being up here. It's just a really strong team. It's a team I would use. It gives you a ton of options. I think the fact that I can only really complain about Electrovive going in the 5th when it comes to this team shows how put together of a team this was by Chris. So I have a lot of faith he will do well. I know I played him twice last season. I know how he prepped, and I know he will prep extraordinarily well with this team. I think that it is the best team and player combination on the Koraidon side. So I have a lot of faith that Chris is going to do very well with this team. And yeah, there's not too much more to say about that. It's just good. Like I can't really complain and call it out. It's just good stuff, playing with good stuff, playing with good draft stuff. So everyone's all fine, and then you get Scary Face Graffarai with Leaf Storm Superior, and you're like, how am I going to stop this thing? And then your answer is exactly what Garchomp and Corv need to get onto the field. So overall, love the team. Really looking forward to see what Chris does with it. But that does conclude my Koraidon rankings. I will try to update power rankings at least once a week, just also as a way to talk about the matches. But like I said at the beginning, no one should take these rankings personal. They're just my opinion. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to see. I want to get something out for the Koraidon division. I'm looking forward to see what everyone does in week 1 and seeing what the pairings are. And that's it. So thank you. If you decide to watch to the end, thank you. And hopefully I will do this again. But yeah, it'll be easier to talk about the teams when I've seen them in action instead of just looking at them for 2 minutes. And yeah, so thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next week.